Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining me.
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
On the heels of the RNC wrapping up, there was major news that shook up the 2024 presidential election this weekend. President Joe Biden dropped out of the race. What's your reaction?
Look, my reaction is it's not necessarily a surprise. We knew that there was something wrong with Joe Biden. I think it's unfortunate for the Democratic registered people that they didn't get an opportunity to vote in a primary election to select their nominee. Kamala Harris is somebody who was polling at around 3% in the 2020 presidential primary. And now she's going to be the nominee for the Democratic Party without a single vote being cast. And so I think that's unfortunate. There's certainly not democracy taking place. This is an anointment of a candidate. And I think that the Americans just generally deserve better. They should be able to select their nominee. And it was a shame that the Democratic Party hid this from the public because we've known that Joe Biden has had issues with mental acuity. We've known this for quite some time. And they kept propping him up as if this was like a sequel to Weekend at Bernie's. And here we are now with just a few months left, and they're doing a switcheroo because their president is polling so poorly and was unable to win the election. But it also shows you how far Democrats would go to keep power, and that's really what this is about. The minute he started dipping in the polls and it showed that he had a difficult path to win in November, they dropped him like a hot potato.
What do you make of the argument presented by some Republicans that if he can't run for the campaign, can't run for the next term, he should immediately resign?
Well, I agree with that sentiment, and I've expressed the same. I've had concerns about Joe Biden governing for 3.5 years now. I mean, the reality is when a couple times I've had interactions with him, you can tell that there is an issue there, and you feel badly for him because he is somebody who is suffering from some type of dementia, and he does not have the ability to run this country, particularly when we have two allies at war. We have terrorist threats here at home, and the people who are running the country, who are unelected, political appointees, are creating a mess. The Biden-Harris administration has been a disaster for America. They've opened up our borders. They've allowed murderers, rapists, drug dealers, terrorists into this country, right? Among the 10 million individuals that are coming in. And cities like mine in New York City are being forced by our mayor to house these individuals, including the criminals, in luxury hotel rooms. They've wreaked havoc on our city. 2 police officers were shot by an illegal immigrant. We had a 13-year-old girl raped by an illegal immigrant. And that's just 2 of thousands of crimes that have been committed in our city alone. And so this administration has been a disaster. And Kamala Harris, who is tasked to be the border czar, has overseen the border crisis getting worse and worse and worse. So I think most Americans are not comfortable with Kamala Harris being anointed by the Democrats with not a single vote cast. And they know that if we want to secure our border, make our country prosperous, make it affordable again, then we need to elect Donald Trump and restore him to the White House.
I want to get to your first part of your comments. Do you think, because you do have concerns about President Biden's mental acuity, that Democrats should call on Vice President Kamala Harris to invoke the 25th Amendment?
Well, that would be the responsible thing to do, is for them to remove him from office. Nobody has seen him. Nobody has seen him in the past few days. I mean, I find it hard to believe that he just issues this letter, that he signed that letter, and just that was the way he was going to announce that he wasn't going to run again. Where is he? Why is he not speaking to the American public? I understand that he has COVID, but COVID only lasts a couple of days. I mean, he should be better now, and you can easily film a video from your home. The issue that I have is that I feel that there's a group of people that are not elected that are in this administration working with Kamala Harris and I don't know who else to run this government. And they have created a mess. And now we're going to try to correct this mess. I think that's what this election is all about. Remember, every single thing that has happened has been contrary to American interests, whether it's the foreign policy, appeasing our adversary, doing away with the peace through strength of President Trump, whether it's opening up our border to dangerous individuals who are committing crimes, particularly at a time when we have terror threats here at home and allies at war, whether it's dismantling our energy production, driving up inflation, driving up the cost of energy, putting gas in your car, paying your electric bill, putting food on the table. That's what the Democrats have done. It has been not good for the American people. They are living in a less safe, less secure, less prosperous, and less affordable United States of America because of the policies of the Biden-Harris administration. So even if the 25th Amendment was invoked, the policies aren't going to change. In fact, they may get worse. Kamala Harris, as you know, was the most left-wing member of the U.S. Senate. She supports the open borders. She supports sanctuary cities. She supports the disastrous bail reform of states like New York that releases dangerous people onto our streets. So, I feel that they just need to be rejected at the ballot box.
I know that you said that you think Democrats forced Joe Biden out of the race because politically he was failing in the polls, and now they're rallying around Vice President Kamala Harris. Do you think politically she is a more formidable challenger to Donald Trump?
I don't think so. I actually think she is a worse candidate with worse ideas. And from a policy perspective, she is left to Joe Biden. And she may be younger, she may be a woman, maybe that'll attract some youth and women to want to vote. But at the end of the day, if people really look at the policies side by side, she is further to the left than Joe Biden, and she will continue this mass illegal immigration crisis. Remember, she was appointed the border czar by the president, and everything has gotten worse since that time period in 2021. So I believe that we're just going to see. I believe that we're just going to see the policies go more and more to the left if she were to replace Joe Biden now, or if she were to be elected in November.
You were at the RNC last week, and some of the biggest news coming out of the RNC was that former President Donald Trump did in fact name his running mate. His running mate is J.D. Vance. What do you make of that choice?
I think J.D. Vance is somebody who has appeal, again, to younger electorate. He is somebody who is a union supporter. He supports the hardworking men and women of our country. And in fact, he got a shout out from the union president of the Teamsters, as did I, which I was very proud of. I think he is an articulate individual who can communicate our message and the agenda of making this country more safe, secure, prosperous, and affordable for the American people. And he has a really interesting life story that could be an inspiration to so many. Growing up in a single family home, a single parent home, even his mother had a drug addiction, sadly, so he was raised by his grandparents, but his father had left them at a very young age. I think that that is a story, sadly, that can resonate with many Americans, but it has such an inspirational ending where he is about to be elected the next vice president of the United States. And he was able to do all of this in a short time frame, educate himself, put himself through law school, be a successful businessman, and be an author, share his story to inspire others. And he is a fighter for the things that we need: secure borders, pro-growth, pro-jobs, tax policy that will help build upon President Trump's success of creating jobs, lowering unemployment, lifting wages, and doubling the child tax credit for American families. And he is, like I said, somebody who comes from a different background, right? He came from a working class family, and I think it's just a different perspective that's being brought to the table, which is important.
When you look at the RNC, you saw a really unified Republican Party last week. You saw Teamsters president make history and deliver a message at the RNC. Do you think that the Republican Party's message now changes between now and November because Joe Biden is no longer running?
No, the message stays the same. We are the ones who are going to secure our border, make America's cities safe again. We're the ones who are going to put forward a pro growth, pro jobs tax structure that are going to help lift Americans out of poverty, provide them with opportunities. We're going to build on the success of President Trump's first 4 years, govern by peace through strength instead of appeasement of our adversaries. And remember, President Trump, there were no new wars created in the world under President Trump. It was because he exhibited peace through strength. As soon as this guy came in, people saw weakness in President Biden, and they chose to attack two of our allies. And the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. I mean, they closed Bagram Air Base before evacuating the citizens, releasing thousands of ISIS-K, Al-Qaeda fighters from the prison. That is why 13 American soldiers were killed, because that ISIS-K fighter was released. So that was a very bad decision this administration made that cost the lives of 13 military men and women. Military service members will be safer with President Trump at the helm in leadership as commander-in-chief.
Congresswoman, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.